I'm hoping this happens many, many times. This is an incubator band that you guys have pushed into regular rotation for us, and now they're going to the charts, man. I want to introduce you to the band Limberlost. Now, this is a band that blew my mind when I first heard. How are you guys?
Great.
Hi, happy to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you here, man. I appreciate it so much. When did Limberlost form?
When?
Yeah.
It started early, like in 2010. Was kind of the first time I started putting things together. We actually went through a bunch of just maturation. Ended up in releasing our very first song in 2016. So that was kind of our official coming out party. And then in 2018, we went through another big change towards the end of the year and had some new members come along. Um, and, um, and,
Not to mention names.
no, and then we again just went through the whole thing. We did a European tour at the end of 2023, kind of learned some things about ourselves as a collective, had to make some changes. And so, yeah, it's just been kind of this normal maturation that's been going on. And now this band that we have together now, there's actually, I'm the only OG from the early days. And then from 2018, it was Brittany and Tony, our keyboard player. And we now have three new members, another female vocalist, and our guitar and bass player. So.
See, and I think that's unique. Brittany, what is that like having another female vocalist in the band? Is that, well, how do you, so are you guys able to work off each other?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the most fun thing too, is that we both, we're both professionals. We're both coming from a place of serving the song and serving the music. So we have these really great songs like the Me I Am Afraid Of and Let Me Go, and just all of these ones where they really they play off the lyrics. And so that's what we get to do. And we get to do that with the staging too, where we're facing each other because we are the me I am afraid of, where we get to do all these kinds of really dramatic moves that all suit the show and suit the production. So it's it's really exciting because there isn't a moment where really either of us get to take a break. It's like we really are we're both very present on the stage and in the production, and it's just really exciting to work with somebody who who can leave their ego out of the door. It's a really difficult thing to do in this business, is to stop and not say, well, I want to sing because I want to sing, but actually like what serves the song and whose range is really good coming out here, and okay, well, let's put you here. And so it's really exciting actually to be able to be in an environment where it's about the production.
And you brought up something that I think is kind of cool. You have this statement on your website that I love it, man. On your website, it says you music is not just entertainment. It's a calling. That is perfect, man, because I mean, when did you start feeling that way? Has it always been that way?
Oh yeah. 100%. Like since I was a little girl and I wanted to play the piano, and then I wanted to play the flute, and then I learned like 11 instruments before I was out of high school, and then
Man.
I always and then I got my degree in opera. No, music is a whole, it's always been my calling, but I also, the reason it was my calling is because I saw how you can inspire someone, how you people will literally change their life, or they can get through the hardest moments of their life because of a song. And that's, to me, was the most like, and I get to be somebody who could write this music and affect the world. Like that was the calling for me.
That's okay. I'm gonna move ahead a little bit. I was gonna talk about that a little bit later, but no, we're in the perfect spot.
Now, so.
We're in the perfect spot right now. It's like you read my freaking mind, man. Okay. does it ever cross your mind when you're on stage? Because you played with a lot of influential players so far in the game. And I mean, lots of friends of the show, but some that are not. I mean, Yngwie Malmsteen, come on, he's an innovator. The Motels. So, like, when you're playing with these people who have been influences to multiple people, probably even yourselves, Does it ever cross your mind that possibly you are influencing a new generation of rockers?
Hmm.
I hope so. Otherwise,
Good
why are we?
question.
Otherwise, why? I mean, I hope that that whatever
Ooh.
we do matters. And I don't get to choose that. We don't. We talk about this all the time. We don't try to attach too much meaning to our songs to the fans, because the moment we release them into the universe, you get to attach meaning to it, and
Yeah.
it's more important that your meaning isn't tainted by mine.
Yep.
So I hope that we're putting music out there, and its influence, and I hope you know we're pretty early in our stages to make this comment, I guess, but I hope someday we do inspire, that we innovate in some way, that somebody goes, they did it, so can we, that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Well, given a second to gestate that question, I think it's really interesting. Our brand is about that. Our brand is about inspirational music. We were very inspired, and I know Mike was, but then when I heard this story joining Limberlost myself, I was like, I love Switchfoot. So essentially Limberlost, Mike heard the music of Switchfoot and was like, oh my gosh, so you can have like a pop rock new modern band, but talk about things that actually move you and inspire you, and it doesn't have to be like Christian or something. You know what I mean? Like, it can just be inspiring to be inspiring, and so he was like, oh my gosh, we should do this. We should make this band. And so really this is his brainchild. And so when you talk about, does that ever occur to you? That's the point, man. The point is to go out there and try to, inside of a realm of, especially people that we relate to, people that are probably messy in their lives, like that's me I'm talking about right now. FYI.
That's all of us you're talking about. You're talking about every one of us, every person listening right now can relate. It's like, yep.
We decided that, what, that's us. We're the lost ones. We meet in the Limberlost and we'll all find our way out, and so that's our music. Our music was like, we want to be for the people who are like down in the dirt, but it's not over. And sometimes you really feel like it is, but that's the message of Good Fight. Sometimes it's a good fight. Like, it's gonna be a fight to get out of here, and that's good. And so it's, that's all of our music. And every time we go out there and we perform, that's what we want. We actually hope that people walk away touched, moved, and inspired by what we did there that night. So and what we did together. Yeah.
One thing that really works with that also is, am I the only, let me know if I'm the only one that has told you this, but you can listen to one of your songs at a certain time and then listen to it again, and it's almost like it's different depending on your emotions at that moment of the listening.
Yes. I would say you're the first one that said it the way you have.
Okay.
I think work real. I know, at least in my, and I can speak for myself. I won't speak for Brittany, but I know in the songs that I've created the lyrics for, I work really hard at trying to keep things as metaphorical as possible. I still have a point to the song, and I hope it drives you in a certain direction. But, again, back to that whole point I was trying to make before, is that I want you to attach a meaning to it.
Okay.
I want you to own it, and how you own it with music, especially because music's one of the few, if not the only medium out there that captures everything in the brain at one time and makes it so you can't really do anything. You lose yourself in it. All the senses, right? And and depending on what mood you're in or what you're going through at the moment is how that's the prism you're gonna accept that through. So I would say, yeah, absolutely. I think it can change its meaning for you, and it should. I think it should. That's what the music's for.
Well, and I've found in the course of my life that music, especially the music I write, but all music in general, it tends to be prophetic for me, in that I'll write something and I'll be singing to it and I understand it, but I don't relate to it. And then as your life goes on and you have more experiences, you know what I mean? Especially for me, I'll be listening to a song, or a song will come to mind and I'm like, oh God, I just got those lyrics. You know what I mean? Like, I just got them in a new way.
It just clicks for you.
I thought I got them before, now I get them. And the weird thing is, this has been even more true of songs I write. It's like, that's why I call them prophetic, because like I'll write a song and I'm like writing a song about an idea or about a whatever, and then we end up living into it. I mean, that actually happened with our album. I'm telling you, it's me, it's my songwriting. It's very, very weird. So we're sitting here writing this song. We're doing this concept album of Beautiful Scars on our way back from Rome to Paris. Oh, it was Paris to London. We were driving all the car stuff, and we're like, you know what, we got to think about our next album and what we're gonna do. And I was like, gosh, I love that Japanese art form where when a piece of pottery gets broken, it's called kintsugi.
Yeah.
They fix it with gold. It's so beautiful. And the idea is that you are actually more, or the piece is more beautiful because it was broken.
It was broken
and stronger because you were broken. And so, you know, we had this idea that people are that, you know, we go through life and we get scars and things happen to us, and we go, you know, and sometimes they're physical, sometimes they're emotional, and we have to live with those. And a lot of people sometimes attach these negative meanings, but what if we attached like a positive meaning, that because you came through this, you're actually stronger and more beautiful than what you were before. So we were writing this whole album, and then the crazy thing was the whole band ended up having to live that album because the whole band broke up. And we're like looking at the shattered pieces of a band. You know? And
so you felt like you manifested the breakup of the band.
Weird. We look back at it and we're going, God, we just went through this, and now we are this.
We are Beautiful Scars.
Because no offense to previous membership, but the band that we have right now is like our dream band.
Oh my gosh!
Oh really?
Yeah. And it's just really amazing because we're all well, I think that the hard part about taking on music is where you stand on that spectrum of professional to hobbyist.
Okay.
Because some people will make the time in their life and see the value of it in their life, and they push that forward. And some people, it occurs more like, this is the distracting from the things that I want. And when you start to get more gigs and bigger gigs, and you have to tour here, and you have a lot more going on, that starts to become really present as to, you know, what is the value of this? Like, what do you want to do? And so it really came down to several members wanted to do more local shows and kind of stay at that like hobbyist level, and we want to be more like, well, we want to be more international. We want to, you know, and so the whole band broke. We all broke up. I mean, literally everything broke. And then I started writing music, and we started piecing it back together, and we started making calls and saying, this is what we're thinking going forward. And then some people stayed and some people left, and it was really it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, it was,
and we ended up just, I mean,
it's never easy, but it was good.
It was, you know, brand wise, it never missed a beat. You know, it was never public, or, you know, nobody knew this was going on under the water. You know, it was just the duck.
Okay.
But, you know, we're with Paul Crosby management. Paul's a good friend of mine. So him and I are on the phone and going back and forth. He's like, oh, no worries. We sent him our demos of the album, and he's like, oh, dude, let's put this out. Let's go. And I'm like, I don't have any band members. He goes, well, we'll just hire some Nashville guys. Let's go. You know, and I said, well, let me make some calls. So we did. And we were very fortunate because the guitar player we went after, Devin, who's in the band, is the son of a good friend of mine and ours, Steve Unger. And Steve Unger's the bass player for Metal Church and Autograph.
Okay.
And so
Autograph. That's where I heard that name. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm calling Steve up, you know, after I sent Devin a couple, or at least a text, I think it was a text saying, hey, I got something I want to talk to you about and see where you're at, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't get back to me right away. So I was like, dude, I want to call him again, but I probably should call Steve first because Steve's my bro. So we did. We called him. We're driving down the road. And he's like, well, yeah, what are you looking for? And we're looking for this, that. And he goes, yeah, well, great. Just send me the stuff and I'll listen to it and I'll see if I can put some guys together for you. And he literally called us the next day and he's like, so what do you need? And I go, we need a bass player and a guitar player. And he goes, well, I got your guys. And I go, oh, cool. Let me get a pen. I'll write them down. Get the number. He goes, no, it's me.
Oh,
I'm like,
God. You're like,
I'm like, okay. And he goes, yeah. And Devin, he goes, man, this stuff's fire. He goes, there's not a stinker on this album. I want to be a part of this, man. And, so we were just like, jaw hit the floor. Her friend Sammy, she got her degree in opera with, was in a metal band up in Seattle. We approached her. She's like, absolutely. And it was like in the course of 2 weeks,
we had this
boom, and
amazing band.
Yeah, it was just all back together, and everybody that can tour, everybody that wants what we want.
Exactly. That's the other thing. It was like all of the members that joined, we were like, okay, we want to be an international touring band. We want this to be something you can actually make money on and retire on. We want you to be able to have, we had this idea of actually creating a bigger umbrella called Bucket List Productions, because we just want to check things off our bucket list, man.
okay.
Yeah, got some fun. Well, the music business is shattered, man. It's not what it used. Nothing what it used.
Yeah, it's not. But well, like I started in radio in '88, and just real quick, it's not the same. I mean, I quit. Well, I I quit terrestrial radio in 2012, and no 2001. Sorry, went to XM satellite radio, and that was before XM and Sirius. Like it was a takeover. Sirius took over XM, but they call it a merger. It wasn't. We saw the handwriting on the wall. A bunch of us were like, "Huh?"
That those were two different companies. It was XM and Sirius.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah. Sirius was in New Jersey and XM was in DC.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And but anyway, that's a long story. XM guys, like, they messed up big time many times. And but a bunch of us saw the hand around the wall, so we quit. We're like, no. And I went back to terrestrial radio, and it was like a completely different landscape than it was when I left. Not only when I started back in '88. Back in '88, jocks still programmed their own music, and then it morphed into like. But anyway, what I'm getting to is I do what I do right now because I do things the way radio was way back when, I do stuff the way the programmers did it in like the 50s and 60s. The fans want to hear a band. I played the band, there's just none of this. Hey, what are you going to give me? What are you going to pay me? How much are you going to pay me to put you on a playlist thing? That's not, So I understand what you're talking about as far as the music business changing. It's freaking ridiculous. But I do not. What? Oh, I was going to say, but I do not understand the thinking of your other members of wanting to stay like in that little pocket, wanting to be like
I think they
fish in
wanted
a little
to do
pond.
more shows. You see what I'm saying? Like, because okay, so I want to be a musician and I want to play. I'd really like to play on the weekends, and I'd really like to play around the area, and for I want to play for people I know, and I want to do more like stuff around here, and I want to kind of spend more time writing songs, and you know what I mean. It was a lot of, which is great. See, this is the thing. I'm not saying this to put any kind of negativity on it. This is what a lot of people do, and they
and I'm not negative about that. I just don't get the whole thing. I have friends that are like that too. They want to be big fish in the little pond. Yes. I want to be that little fish. Right now, I'm a little fish in a freaking ocean, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun to me.
See, some fish get very scared and they much prefer their pond. And some fish look at the ocean and go, oh my gosh, there's so much room to grow. Let's go. And so that's all we did. We discovered where we stood. And there's absolutely no right or wrong inside of music and how people express music or what people do with it. You know what I mean? There isn't. Yeah. So we decided that just our paths were not connected anymore. And some of the tension that we'd been having was because of that. Actually, it was a lot because of that, the behind the scenes kind of tension. So then the other thing that I was going to say is now we're with a bunch of fish that that's our everybody, I mean, Sammy and I both got our degrees in music.
Well, and that's something I wanted to explore also, your operatic background. Seriously, that comes out. And I was going to ask about Sammy too, because you both have that, like, oh God, that guttural tone kind of like, comes out. I was like, man,
Well, they
It was
trained I could almost, it's this
okay.
right there, that right there. If I were to talk in it, I would sound like Julia Child. Yes, 100%.
Yes,
100%.
throw in a couple darlings. But
Darling.
I first heard you when Paul sent Alien to me. And then I went and I started checking out some other stuff. Your cover of Black Velvet from A Lot of Miles. And that's when like I started thinking that about Sammy. I was like, okay, wait a minute. I have to ask Brittany about this. I'm like, what the hell? You know, why do these two sound like so unique and so good together? And now I understand. I mean, you graduated like with your opera degrees together.
Yeah, well,
That's
that
freaking.
one, that recording, that's actually our former singer, Crystal. And so that's the other,
Oh,
at the end
okay.
of the day, part of the reason I joined Limberlost to begin with was the similarity between Crystal and I's voice. I remember hearing her for the first time and she sounded like my mom. Like,
Oh, okay.
wow, that's crazy. So her and I also sounded really good together. And so that's what we were faced with. We were like, well, gosh, initially Mike and Paul and everybody, even some of the band members we had found, their thing was, well, why do we need the other singer? Let's just be a one singer band. And I was the one that was like, personally, I think we've built a really beautiful brand that's unique. And part of that uniqueness is our two females, which you don't find in so many. There's, you know what I mean? There's it evokes another band, of course, that you can name, right? Which we love. And so I wanted that to be the focus. The other thing too is when you don't have the one female, and I just want to point this out. I very much love the idea that Limberlost is bigger than any member in it. Limberlost is about the people getting lost and finding their way, and we are the people with the torches guiding that. And it's not about Amy of Evanescence or Taylor of this. It's not about
the singer and their hired guns, so to speak.
Right.
Exactly. Well, so many of those bands, and again, not just to I just wanted to set myself apart because I wanted it to be about the message Limberlost brings. Limberlost, the brand, the heart, one time we had somebody tell us we're sort of like the Valentine card of the rock business. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want to be. I want to spread love and joy. And I don't want it to be like Brittany of Limberlost or so when you obscure that, when you give people options, okay, when you give people joy, when you give this sort of message as being bigger, this duality, and then, oh my God, do we get to have so much fun playing with that on stage, and the harmonies you're going to hear, you're not going to hear anywhere else. Like, it's going to be great.
We've also, in all fairness, though, we also had a producer call us Noah's Ark at one point too, because we seem like to have two of everything.
We do. We have all religions,
all politics.
Politics. It's hilarious. Like, second somebody starts to talk politics, we're like, nope. Stop it.
Oh my God. I do the exact same thing. It's funny, man, especially where I'm living right now, because everybody wants to talk about politics. And what I want to talk about right now is this song Alien.
Okay.
It's like everything Paul sends me like hits. Like, I have like about 30 different guys sending me stuff all the time, but Paul is one of 5 where everything he sends like hits me like a freaking train right away. And I heard this and I was like, what the hell? And that's why I had to delve more into Limberlost. What can you guys tell me about this song? What was going through your minds when you were putting it together?
Well, you ever see Cartman Gets an Anal Probe?
Now, I know what you're talking about, and I'm so old I can barely remember it, but yes, I have.
Oh, brother, you ain't any older than me. Yeah, no, we kind of went down a rabbit hole of I don't know. It was
okay. Put that tinfoil on my hat is all I'm saying. On my head.
We started watching Ancient Aliens a lot.
All I'm saying is,
okay.
I put Ancient Aliens on, and the background is like a joke. It's just like I want to put something in the background so I'm not watching it, and I can like do my work. And then it started to get like, Wait a minute, what? And it started talking my language to me, and I'm going, wait a minute, what? I'm putting my computer down. Wait, what? And then we ended up on this path. I read a lot of books.
We joined MUFON.
We joined MUFON. It's a whole thing now. No, for real. But for real though, no. Okay, so I ended on this book called Alien Interview, and I put that book down, and I was like, damn. Either I just read the like coolest piece of sci-fi ever that like explains everything ever in all of humanity and Earth and everything ever, or it's true. I don't know. I don't know, but it was like either a really darn cool piece of sci-fi, and I set that down and I started the tagline to Alien, and then from there I'd set it down for a while. I picked it back up, and at one point it was evoking for me like dysphoria, like not feeling correct. I wanted to have, when I was putting together some of the parts of it, I wanted it to like feel like you're not right, and so it actually goes between the major and the minor all the time, so you don't really know, is it a major key, is it a minor key? You don't know, like your ears kind of obscure a lot. And then, yeah, so that's it. It really is about, aliens. It really is about aliens.
Imagine if you will.
Imagine if you will. Yeah, I like it.
that show kills me, man. It's like, what if, and then if this happened, and it's like, yeah, what if I was walking on the street and a New York bus crossed the street and hit me? Oh, you froze a little. You froze a little bit.
Oh, no.
Come on.
No, it looks like we're strong.
I'm waiting for the.
Yeah, but our internet stops and then comes.
I'm waiting for you to come back.
There he is. Let me get the video.
I hate when that happens, man.
They knew we were talking about them. No,
shut us down.
we did. They were like, uh-oh, code 529.
The men in black were just at our trailer door.
They literally
look for the black helicopters now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But really.
I'm
kidding. Yeah, so anyway, Alien, it is a song about dysphoria, about feeling not correct in your body, but it also is, if you walk down that path, I will say this is what I'll say. If you walk on the path of aliens and you start reading the books and the lore and the MUFON and meeting the things, and aliens' words will change for you.
Oh, hell. Little tease. Okay.
Yeah, there's some Easter eggs in there for sure.
So, okay.
You're gonna go, oh my God, wait, what?
There's Easter eggs in the video too, but they're of a different kind.
There are Easter eggs in the video.
Do you do any name dropping in there? You know,
name dropping,
like Giorgio or any of the.
No, but we considered doing stuff in the videos.
I did tag them all in the video.
You know what the power of my Facebook profile is, I think, is so I actually ended up as Facebook friends with a whole bunch of like ancient astronaut people. Like if they were on the show, I went and looked them up on Facebook and I was like, add as friends.
Oh, and just added them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to see, and I was like, they're not gonna add me back. No, like so many of them did though.
Well, they're all nerds. They're good, you know. I mean, so
so I get to watch all their Facebook stuff, and I get to see all the things that they post, and I feel so privileged. I'm like, I absolutely am very, very privileged that I am in a certain very, very tiny way over here acquaintance network of being able to see what some of these people are up to. It's pretty cool.
Okay, gonna quickly sidestep that. Let's talk about this for a second. What kind of stuff are they posting? How weird and wild is it?
Okay. Actually, it's not weird and wild because you have to understand too. Like I also am into like the esoteric. I read poems, so to me, I'm like, this is the most amazing connection between science and metaphysics. So, but I will say this: it was so awesome a couple weeks ago because the whole community blew up. Because I don't know if you know this, but some scans came from they do scans. It's called, I can't remember what it's called. I'm not going to say something wrong, but well, they use stop it. They use like satellites to essentially take like images, like sound images or whatever from underneath the ground.
They do deep ground penetrating.
Ground penetrating.
Ground penetrating. Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it. Like I can't remember. So they did this under the Giza pyramids, and they found what occurs to be huge columns. So somebody used like AI or an artist or somebody to graphically create these like giant 250 feet tall columns with spirals underneath the Giza pyramids. And
yeah, I saw this stuff online.
Oh God, the infighting.
And all the comments, I was like, get the popcorn. It was real, because here's what I have to say. I'm not, I just really appreciate being able to witness it. That's all. That's, you know what I mean? I really appreciate all of these people and how they each take a new approach to what they're doing, but they're all in it for science. You know what I mean? Especially the people who are really, really looking through the needle of the scientific process as we know it. Those are the ones that I really became friends with, and so I'm very fascinated when they talk to each other. Yeah, absolutely, okay. Because I appreciate every single one of their responses. I think that this is probably how we're going to progress as humans, is into the truth. You know, when they're the forefront of it, I just get to partake in audience of it. So
watch now. We're laughing about it right now, but watch, like 10 years on down the road or 20 years on down the road, we find out that everything is true and all this stuff has been suppressed for years and years.
Oh, I think you're spot on with a lot, because there's
don't
so much
you feel just a little bit.
There's so much evidence out there right now that is being not or discounted, or that most of what we think we know about our historical progressions from the last 5,000 or 6,000 years is all utter BS.
Well,
don't it seem to make just a little bit of
finding stuff that just is like, oh my God. There's a guy named Graham Hancock.
Oh, I love Graham Hancock.
He's not an ancient alien guy as much as he's like, hey man, stuff has been happening on this earth for a long time. We may not be the first we've got amnesia, because
love it.
Yeah,
there's been several civilizations before us that have gone pretty high up and then been wiped out for some reason. And
he takes a new approach to like, okay, well, what if what we know is not what we know? Because now we have a new way of looking through things. We have new technological scope and filter, so we can look at things in the past. And so he started bringing up discrepancies, and then essentially was labeled a pseudoscientist. But really, everything he says is trying to go through the scope of the scientific process. It's very fascinating.
It is. It's pretty interesting. None of it's fact, but but what
because no one was there.
Well, yeah, exactly.
We don't know.
But I think what it does is it also exposes the fact that most of what we've been fed isn't fact.
Well, you have to take some of it. Don't take all of it as total complete truth, but I mean, some of it you have to look at with an open mind, because I mean, look at all the stuff that Nikola Tesla did. That they discredited. You're talking about pseudoscientists and shit. I mean, I'm not even. I'll start swearing and I'll get pissed off and everything. But even stuff that I learned in college, like about astronomy, it's like the way the planets formed is not correct. The way the universe like actually expands is not correct anymore. The way the moon was formed is not correct anymore. It's I don't know. Everything's changing and evolving, and I don't think anybody knows. I think they're just making shit
Well, I
up.
think we have a poor, or rather, I'll say this. I don't think we have a very concise way in the English language of declaring a sentence that is a theory versus a sentence that is a fact. So when we teach kids, we're teaching them like, oh yeah, the pyramids were tombs, and we just state this. We just state this as a fact. For instance, we have scores and scores of textbooks that call Pluto a planet. You know, we just state it as a fact. So there isn't a real good way in English.
Well, that's what they used to, but they used to
have
teach
a
that in
theory.
school. Pluto was the what, ninth planet?
Ninth planet.
No,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like, no, it's a dwarf planet. And it's, what's a dwarf planet?
It's
I don't
just
know.
new
It
people
does
making
make
stuff up.
sense. No, it's actually because you have to understand. So Pluto got discovered, but then after Pluto, like 5 more dwarf planets, way bigger, got discovered, but they're not being called planets. Like okay, so how come Pluto is somehow special? So there was a whole scientific convention that got together.
We can bring
and
our
most
4-year-old
scientists
back in here, and
left.
he'll tell you everything you need to know about
It's
all of that.
it's hilarious.
He
But
knows
no,
every
it's
single
it's there's actually a planet in between Mars and Jupiter. I want to say it's Ceres. It's inside the belt. It's inside the asteroid belt, and it's bigger than Pluto. You know, so it's. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's like around the same size.
Well,
So
I know there was a planet like in the asteroid. They actually think the asteroid belt was a planet,
Yeah.
and that broke up. And what there was
that's in that book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that's in that book. Like whoever, like no, it was Lawrence
So-
Spencer wrote that
so
book.
if you
but,
want a
like,
fun
very
read,
cool.
If you want a fun
Sci-fi.
read, go read Alien Interview.
It's really
Get the
Okay.
version. Get the version that doesn't have the 500 pages of footnotes in it. 'cause
don't
you'll
get
go-
the extra footnoted version.
You can
like,
read it in
Lawrence
a day.
Spencer, what was wrong with
But
him?
oh
Don't
my
do
God,
that.
you'll walk away from that going. In fact, you'll probably want to exchange information because you'll be calling us up and go, dude.
all I'm saying is it's going to be a magic trick because the words of Alien are going to totally change.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody
okay,
who reads
all
the
right.
first 100 pages of Alien Interview, then listen to Alien, and the words will be completely different.
will.
Crystal clear. Okay, all right. Challenge accepted.
Board on the
let's see.
table.
Guys, we have people out there that want to see you guys live. They want to see this energetic show. What are you putting together for maybe a tour? I know you got some live shows coming up.
Great question. So when we decided to go, we created our whole business plan for this album. The album, just Beautiful Scars, just released Friday. So the whole 10-track album is now out there for consumption.
And we sold
1,300 physical copies
1,300 copies of
on a
our
pre-sale. Yeah, that was pretty
Oh,
big for us.
Nice.
As do-it-yourselfers, that was pretty cool. So we've been expanding our fan base through that too, because we did a lot of it through meta ads and so forth. So we picked up a whole bunch of new faces around the country that never have even seen us, but now we know where they live, so kind of thing. So yeah, we had a couple things come up while we were going through this Kentucky process of our own. The International Singer-Songwriter Association down in Atlanta, Georgia, they throw this big award show every year. We've actually won a couple in the past. We won an album of the year for our first album and band of the year, I think in 21, something like that. And we've never attended, but they've been trying to get us to come perform at it for years.
Okay.
And so we were going to perform at it in 21, but we all know what happened.
Yeah.
So everything fell apart. So yeah, they reached out to us again while we were still didn't even have a band together and said, do you want to do it? We want you to headline and da. And we're like, yes, because it's always yes until it's no. So, we just took it on faith. We'd have our crap together by then and said, yes. So that's where that one came from. And the same thing kind of happened with this festival out here in Oregon. They asked us to be on where we're going to be out with Third Eye Blind.
which is cool because we didn't know who we were going to be totally opening for when we got it.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being Third Eye Blind. I'm like, that's like one of the first bands I ever listened to. That's really
Oh, wow.
So we-
wow.
we just
You're going to be out there
fun.
fangirling out.
No, I learned.
There's
Hang on, there's a story.
There's a story we'll get back to.
I learned.
We got
Okay.
gotta talk about
No
our
fangirl for me.
gotta talk about our story when we opened for Daughtry and Stapp and all that. Yeah, we got. But anyway,
Sorry. It's good.
so yeah, so basically we took those two shows and didn't really know where we were going to be sitting on it. So right now, what we're doing, we're in the process of building some little micro tours around those dates. We just got a contract. I haven't seen it, but one of our agents that we work with said he got it. So hopefully I'll be seeing it here next 24 hours. So we'll be in Biloxi at the Sanctuary on August 22nd, which is the day before we're in Atlanta. And so basically we're going to be probably running from like Houston,
maybe even
maybe Lake Charles, Louisiana,
Louisiana,
and then and kind of doing a southeast kind of
into
deal.
Atlanta.
We also then come back up here in September up into the Seattle area. So we'll be doing like a
little
Seattle, little Pacific Northwest run.
Portland.
Yeah, Portland type deal. And then we're also kind of in a flux period right now as far as work, with work, we work with Paul Crosby and so forth. He always has stuff coming up for us, but we're really let's put it this way, our name's in a couple hats in terms of maybe getting involved with some national booking agencies. Nothing's concrete yet. So our whole world changed. We really know we got to get back over to Europe. We had a great run over there when we opened.
Okay, they're liking some Limberlost.
Yeah, and so we know that that's a good market for us, especially our style of music. Plays really well over there in like the United Kingdom and stuff.
Well, and if I may interject too, and just
you may
have a little observation. People, I think it's more culturally normal in Europe to go out. And so it was actually more fun to play because there's way more people in your crowd.
Oh yeah.
And it's like going out to see live music is like a normal there versus I feel America, you have to pull people. Like you got to draw them in with something. You got food. You got to have some reason to get you out of your house. We are super saturated over here with bands. Go up the playing out and venue. I mean, you can't look at Facebook and there's 50 bands playing every Friday and Saturdays in some town, and we wish well for everybody, but there's not enough venues.
Yeah.
So then are you guys? I'm sorry to interrupt, but so then are what you're saying about in Europe and stuff? Is it kind of like it? And Mike, you would be able to pull this out more because like we're both old. Is it more like it was in like the early 90s, late 80s where like
bro, I started on the Sunset Strip in 1980.
Okay. So is it more of like that over there where
yeah, well what you see more is what do you got there?
Nothing.
Get that look on your face. It's I just had a birthday, so she's looking laughing
at me. Just wants to make fun because we're old. Just Brittany, go away.
No.
Yeah, because if I can just put it this way, very rarely anymore. I mean, I remember growing up and going to the concerts. I don't know how many times I saw the Scorpions live, or I actually saw Led Zeppelin. Before John died and all that. So in those, it was an event. It was like whoa, big, and and quite the difference was, and maybe if this was just me being more of a West Coaster, you didn't see a ton of venues that placated to people that weren't at a professional level. So a lot of venues around back in the early days, had a reputation of having good entertainment because they only brought in good entertainers. It wasn't a proving ground for the next garage band, and nowadays you go to most venues and it's like 6 garage bands and maybe somebody that's kind of on a rise, and so it's a little different, so you really get into a genre specific kind of thing, which now there's like 10,000 genres now, where there was like 4 back when I was doing it, and so I think you go to Europe, and what we noticed there is that they just wanted to get out. So the venues they knew there was going to be a show and it was going to be good because they only brought in good, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't like 50 shows going on
Well,
across
there's-
Milan. There was maybe like 4 or
Mhm.
5, but then you had some big shows like Ingbe coming to. Hey, we rode his back, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the reason we took
Yeah.
that gig,
Yeah.
because who goes into Europe like that? First time playing for anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 people
the electric
every show.
ballroom. I mean,
You
just
know, that was our
the
first
venues.
experience of Europe, was playing for sold out theaters across
Thank you, Ingve.
the UK and Italy, and those were his crowds. We did well, we had a good time,
They
and we
liked
were
us.
very received very
Most
well.
of them.
But but then driving up to a venue at noon and seeing people lined up already.
Okay, so then, because that's what I was thinking about, like essentially when I first asked the question, because yeah, it used to be like that.
It used to be like that
It's
around
like
here,
how many
not
times
anymore.
would we get to shows like in the middle of the day just so we could get a good place up by the stage,
Yes.
against the rail.
We
Oh,
got
yeah,
we
we
got
have
videos
video.
of people running into
People
this.
run into the stage because we saw it happening. We're like, that's amazing. I want that in a music video. And so I made a point to like get this amazing video. I haven't used it yet, but I have this video of like the curtains opening and you just see people running and running and running and like pushing themselves to get on the rail, and then the curtains closing again. And it's
Yeah.
just a great video
Well,
that
I've
someday
actually had
I'll
some-
put in a video.
I actually had somebody tell me this is a couple years ago, as a younger person, that I was lying about getting crushed up against the rail and the security guards having to pull us over.
Yeah,
And then we'd run back and we'd run straight back up to the front until we got crushed again. They pulled us over and they're like, no, that doesn't happen. I go to
Oh.
shows all the
Clearly, that
time.
person's never been in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah,
That was my life for like 15 years, dude.
I
Yeah.
went to a show one time where they got so bad it actually pushed the barricade over, and
Yep.
everybody's falling and getting hurt and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta be careful because people have been crushed and trampled. You gotta be careful,
It's
man.
rock and
Like,
roll, baby.
no.
Yes, exactly. Oh, dude, 95 Lollapalooza, the fence,
Mhm.
the actual like, I don't know. I think it was like a 10-foot chain link fence. It's like they had this little tiny area. This was after the show. They had a little tiny area to walk out, and it was taking too long. So everybody just bum runched this fence,
Oh, no.
like pushed it all down.
Oh,
But,
no,
yeah.
but the people right against the fence probably got hurt.
Oh no! They pushed it out so they could get out of the venue.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, this
Oh,
it was a
okay,
plan.
okay,
it was
okay.
a coordinated effort.
I'm like seeing what was that movie, World War Z, and they're all
Oh,
like,
yeah, what are they walking over people?
Getting cheese grated through the chain
That's
link.
like, I know. I was like, ah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it was. Yeah, I would say that you see. I don't think you see a lot of empty venues in Europe.
I mean, maybe you do. It just wasn't our experience.
But maybe the smaller ones, the 50 cap, 100 cap rooms,
Yeah, it just
maybe they
wasn't our-
experience that. But so yeah, it just the way the crowd, the people interacted, they were very grateful that you were there.
They were there. Okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's nice to be appreciated. It's
Yeah.
nice to because you're putting in so much work to what you guys do, and
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't
no,
think a lot of
actually-
people take that into consideration, especially like Mike. You were talking about you DIY everything. You're like 13,000 copies. That's not bad for a DIY band. It's like, well,
1,300. Oh my God, 13,000 would be amazing.
13.
1,300.
Yeah.
oh, I said 1,300.
God,
No,
we
we-
said 13,000. We
you
did
said
1,300. We did.
Oh, okay. But anyway, you're doing all this stuff. I mean, look at from the website, the socials, you're putting everything together. You're working with the record companies, you're working with the management companies. It's like you're doing all this stuff. So like in that maybe 35-minute set that people see or 45-minute set, they don't understand the months that it's taken you to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it
that's
is a lot of work. Well, I used to have a. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and it sounds like the people in Europe understand that a little bit better than the people here in
I think
in
they
the
do.
US.
I think they, I think there's well, it's definitely different in Europe than it is in the United States, of course, in a lot of ways. But I think that they did. They just, the people that were coming to the shows, you could tell they probably go to a lot of shows. That's what they
Yeah.
do. That's their entertainment. And, and it just to your point though, I want to say I used to have a statement I used to use. It's, people would ask me questions about, what do you need to do? How do you meet the people? How do we get all these things? And I said, the biggest thing that I think I've learned, and this was a while back because I've learned a lot more since, but was quit trying to impress people. Become the person you're trying to impress. In other words, if you're trying to get, the attention of a big booking agent, go be a good booking agent. I booked every show that we've ever done except for the Ingrid Malmsteen tour. So every big name you see on our thing, I personally went out and put that together somehow. Sometimes I was fortunate. Sometimes it was being a weasel, but it was what it was.
It's not being a weasel.
But the point, and I don't say that to brag. I just say that's, that's what it took.
That's what you have to do.
I had so many people tell me, you can't do this and you can't do that. And then they're all knocking on my door wanting my hookup and my contact list.
Yeah, but I want to add to this too, because I think that you presented a mentality that's missing. It's missing in America. It really is. When we go to a doctor and we get a bill, we might scoff at it, but we don't sit and think the doctor's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't that moment that happens. When you go get you get your restaurant bill, whatever, you pay it. That's how it works. So somehow along the way, we got this mentality that music is it's not a worthy skill. It's like you should perform for free. But that's the thing. It's like when you hire a pianist, when you hire an accompanist to play for you, and they charge you $200, they're not charging you for the hour they're playing for you. They're charging you for the years of experience it takes to know what they know and do what they do.
And then just like you said, that
is charging you, your teacher, musician, your accompanist, you hire a praise band, you want to hire a guitar, you want to hire a tech person. I don't care who you're hiring. They have a skill set and you should respect that. And somehow in America, we decided that, oh no, you should give music. Mm-hmm. That should, if you have that skill, you should just give it. Like, I don't know where we got this. I don't know where and why.
Well, Spotify didn't help. And Napster and all those things,
and I think that actually comes down to it too, because it also, like, when you talk about the older days in music, well, you're talking about days when you used to have to audition. You didn't just because your friend knew the booking agent. Like, if your friend knew the booking agent, then they would come and listen to you like this.
Yeah.
Like that. You didn't just get the gig.
You had to showcase.
Okay.
You had to show up and you had to do like a 3 or 4 song showcase.
Yeah, we did showcase. And then we got hired, and then we would get a booking agent, and then that agent would be able to go in and get gigs. We couldn't just show up at our buddy's bar because
Well, now you're talking about that's how musical theater works. That's how the classical music industry works. Like any other, that's how the jazz music industry works. Any other music industry that's out there, you're probably going to audition to get the job that you have. But never once have I, since switching to rock music, had to audition. And I find that very fascinating. It's more about who you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about
who
that.
you know, it's who you know. And honestly, you guys know this too. It's who you know. And it's like what you have in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately.
that's, you bring up a good point, and I want to touch on that because this is, I think, where the rubber meets the road for the musician that goes from hobbyist to professional. When I said you need to become the person that you were trying to impress, that record label that you think is going to swoop down like they did in the 80s and the early 90s and before that with their little suitcase full of money, and trust me, during the Nirvana years, they were running around rampant in Seattle, signing every little podunk band they could find that was going to be the next Pearl Jam, and they had suitcases full of money and all this stuff, and they signed these bands and discovered them, and that went away a long time ago. Nobody does that anymore. Where most of those guys that worked in the tower or in the Capitol Record Building are, they're on the internet selling you, hey, I can get you on Spotify playlist for $29.95, and feeding you a bot farm, and then there's guys like Eric that we both know who are legit guys. And so there's these, but all of that became fragmented. So now myself as a business owner, as a business owner that we have with our brand, we have to go out and put a business plan together, and we have to hire all the subcontractors that we need to put together the launch and do the right
And
things
we
with
don't
it.
think for a single second that we're gonna just be like, hey, you're my buddy, right? So like you'll do
No.
this for free. No, we have to hire people. Like,
No, we
like
budget.
you can't.
You have to budget for it.
This is a business and it takes money to make money.
The reason we're sitting here with you is because we budgeted for that. We worked with Paul. We budgeted for our release on who we were going to hire and the PR company we were going to use for the release and the
100%.
and the people we were going to use to help us with our campaigns and stuff. I do a lot of that myself because I do that for Paul's company, and I also do it for a couple other labels. I do promo video or video promo and stuff like that.
Okay.
And stuff. So I have some of that in house because, well, it just made sense. I learned how to do it. I might as well do it.
Yeah.
And then I side hustled a little bit, but the point being is all of that exists. And when you get to that hobbyist gets to that point where they have to make that decision, whether they're going to move forward as a business or stay as a hobbyist, that's when it's like, I wouldn't sell out, or that's payola, or that's like, well, trust me, payola's been a part of the game. You haven't heard a hit on the radio that
That's
somebody pay to get on there. Since Chuck Berry's manager rolled up a 50 and stuck it in the hole of a 45 and handed it to Wolfman Jack. Okay.
It's just morphed a little bit so they could change the language a little bit so it slides under the radar.
So
And,
so that's where that, that I don't know what you'd call it, that there's that place where there's certain musicians that get to that place where they realize that, I mean, how many bands are putting out music and they throw it out on Facebook right now and they go, well, my new song just released, yay. And then you never hear another word about it because they had no post delivery plan.
They
Well,
never.
I think that, well, people, I think that the initial thing that the assumption is, here's what I'm trying to say. I think the assumption is when you become a musician is that it's based on how good your song is. And so you make this really good song and you feel really confident about it and you think, okay, well, if I get a really good video together and I just put it out there, like the song will live and it will make me feel. And then when it doesn't, you sit and go, well, gosh, maybe it just wasn't good enough. I got to write a better one. You keep going. And the truth is, the sad truth is it has never been about how good the song was. It was about how well you marketed it. And so what's exciting, and I look at that as a challenge. Okay, fine. You want that to be the challenge? Fine. Because the music that we market out there, we sit and go, okay, but gosh, if the world could hear Good Fight, if the world could hear Alien, if the world could hear Alone, like all the songs we put out there are a hope, and it gives us the drive to why do we put the investment in, and why do we have to hire this PR company, and why do we do this? Well, because I really want people to hear this music. I think that if I died with people coming to me and saying, I heard your song and it affected me and it got me through this part of my life, like that would be the fulfillment. Do you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
that's the point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like that's the point. The point was, so it's
I've left your
it's
mark.
not just about putting my music, my artistic expression. This is how I feel and I want to get out there and be authentic. It's not about that. It's always been about like the music I put out there is because I really think that if a lot of people heard this, they would feel inspired or moved or affected. They would feel like something, like maybe they would take it and make a different move in their life. It would be the thing that allowed choice, and music can do that. Music can be the you've been teetering on something in your life and then you hear the song and you're like, oh, God sent me this message, or you know what I mean? And it's like, and that's how music can be for people. How amazing is that it can actually have that effect on you. And so wow, if you can put music out there that it isn't about, man, some of the music I hear on the radio, this is what's affecting choice in the world. Well, this makes sense. Okay. Like, well, a lot of things make sense now. Like, I want the music where it's a big, deeper meaning, where, like some people have gone through therapy, or some people have done really big things, or you get really incredible, music has this ability to have an incredibly complex concept that you don't have a single word for, but you can put together in a whole song with mood and this marriage of music and poetry put together in such a way that in 2 minutes you get this big concept and you go, oh, wow.
Well, you can make a concept or you can make a thing. 90% of what we hear on the radio right now is things.
It's just a thing. Yeah. It's like, what is that? I'm sorry, what?
It's like there are some, and those things can be broken down too. There's some that they're like, okay, well, we have this sound. This sounds like this band. This sounds like this band. This sounds like this band. Okay, cool. We have a song. Or we
Yeah.
can have like, okay, this means this. This means this. I did this because of this, and we put all these
Gosh,
ducks
well,
in a
frankly,
row.
the last artist that I can even think of having a song on the radio where I stopped and listened to it and I felt like the words actually moved me because they spoke to me as a pagan was Hosier. Like that's the last
Okay.
cute, like I can't think of an, you know what I mean? Like it tends to be music is not written for the listener, it's written for the writer.
A lot of it.
And I miss the days when it's listened for the listeners or written for the listener. So that's what we as Limberlost, that's what we're always been about. We're not about us, we're about the listener.
Yeah, we, and so we, we do attach the science of the business to it a little bit, and we do look at it. That was part of some of the other things that divided, us and our old membership too. Is it's like, if we're going to put music out, let's put out music that can be heard, because writing a 7-minute opus is nobody's going to hear that.
Well, because it's
Yeah.
not going to pass through all the filters. There's
Yeah.
filters. And then certain musicians, like you get to the part where you learn the filters, like it has to reach your chorus in 30 to 55 seconds.
There's some
Well, it's not, I think it's 30 to 45 seconds. It can't be more than 4 minutes long. It has to have a certain tempo. Like
You're
learn-
a radio programmer. You know what I'm talking about.
you know what we're talking about. But see, some musicians look at that and go,
It's like, why is there a
sorry,
2-minute
Roman.
guitar solo in here? What the hell?
Yeah,
No, this is-
I'll tell you.
I looked at that as, oh, fun, challenge.
Expression.
Accepted.
I'll give you
Expression too.
I'll give you a secret here. We went to Eric Baker with our album, and our business plan. I said we need to talk to him.
Mhm.
I said, what songs on this album would you program next? And that determined
That determined the next
the
video.
next video and the next. You know what I'm saying? Because why would I just go? No, I want to do this one because I like
Well,
it.
my
The
favorite.
guy's
song-
got a hell of an ear, and also it's like there have been bands that have wanted like what you're talking about. Okay, this is the next release. No, that song's shit. Okay, you're doing
Yes.
it, and some get mad, but
Yeah, well,
it's come on, you got to be truthful. Why beat around the bush?
Well, you
Well, people attach. So like if I say, dude, this song is shit, and I'm coming from a business perspective saying it's too long, I can't get it on the radio, it's too this, it's blah, 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 blah. And so you have to go fix it. That person then, because they put their all into it, takes it like
take a person.
I'm shit.
Like
You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
slight
And so
to
that's
them.
where I'm like, man, you have to, this is that difference. I really think there isn't a clear language between hobbyist and like professional. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I think a hobbyist is someone who can just be in it for whatever they want to make and do whatever they want with it and put it out there, and it doesn't matter. And it's just how they feel. You know what I mean? And that's totally fine. And I'm more of like when I say professional, I'm just in it for how other people feel. I'm in it for if the radio tells me this is how I have to do my song, and I have to have that filter so that I can get my song about empowerment out there, then that's how I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like that's the challenge. That's the filter it's gonna go through.
It's like, well, YouTube, for instance, I got people come, hey, promote my
get
YouTube
excited
video. And
by
I
it.
watch their video and go, I can't promote this. And they go, why? And I go, because nobody's going to take this song because you said
say
the F-bomb in it.
the
50.
F word too
you know,
many times,
you-
you guys. You
You know,
can't.
so it's like,
And we actually learned this recently too. We have a new filter because our alien music video, which I'm very proud of, I love very, very much. It initially got through this filter where we weren't allowed to, it was diminishing it because it was calling it graphic medical distress or something. And we're like, oh, what? Like that's a content?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so we had to, we fought it
we
several
appealed it,
times,
yeah.
and finally a human got involved and looked at it and went, oh, it's really not that bad. And then passed it. And we're like, oh my gosh, like, we're the people who know all the filters for us to end up in a filter saying that we're
Okay,
graphic medical content.
Yeah. It's
that's
just-
crazy, man.
But my point of it was that there's so many things out there that people don't listen. I know 2 bands right now. I'm not gonna name them, but they just put out videos, and those videos aren't going anywhere. And it's because they stood on the pillar of art
smoking.
and decided, hey, I'm gonna have smoking and booze and all this in there. Or I'm gonna say the F-bomb 100 times. I'm gonna, and those videos are not going anywhere because they aren't prolific enough to just get the plays because of who they are. They still have to use the marketing, and nobody will touch it. because it just,
Nobody
Okay.
cares, man.
Google won't put the stuff up there, or,
Yeah.
point being is that's business. And if you don't understand that, then what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's, you
Yeah.
gotta, Gene Simmons said it's best to me. It's not the music, it's the
It's
music
business.
business.
Sadly, it's true.
Changed my life, that statement, because I realized at that point is I got to start running this band like a business, and not like my hobby, not like my look at me project. This
The look at me thing. Oh, jeez. And oh God, we've been talking. You guys are so fun to talk to, man. We've been talking so long. I don't want to take up your whole day, but that look at me aspect that a lot of people have drives me up a wall. I have so many. I have two digital radio stations also, and I get sent all this stuff because people want to do a show on the radio or something like that. And it's terrible. It's awful. And there have been a few where I've been like, okay, well, no, they're picking good music. This guy's voice is pretty decent, but this is wrong. So I will actually put music beds under it, and I will like re-edit and send them back like a 5-minute piece of how it should sound. They get mad.
Oh,
because they just
of
want
course.
that look at me moment.
right.
And I'm like, dude, no, this is you actually like, it's a business. Okay. This is not like a joke.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people that Mike will consult and then he comes out of it and he's like, they weren't looking for advice. They're looking for affirmation.
Yeah. I totally get it, man.
That's why I started
Completely.
charging for that, because it was just like, it was ridiculous the amount of time I would spend sitting down with people and spilling my guts to them, only to have them at the end say, well, I wouldn't do that, or that's stupid, or, or
There
just
was
totally the opposite direction of where I thought the conversation was going to go,
There was only one guy in my life that actually took what I told him to heart. And I was mesmerized, I should say, because I was like, I wrote him this long, like page and a half email, because I listened to the composite show they sent me, which sounded great. And until I like put them on the air, and it was a live show. So like, I didn't know what the live show was going to sound like. And then I put them on, and man, there were dead spaces. They had dead air constantly. It's like there was no point to what they were talking about. It was just, it sounded like 6 people in a room drinking, like just goofing around. And so I sent him this long page and a half email. I was like, dude, you got to have a point to what you're doing. You have dead spaces everywhere. If you say you're going to come on at 11 o'clock, okay, well, you don't send tones. I understand that you don't have money to send tones. So I'm doing stuff by timing, and my automation kicks over at midnight, and you're supposed to come on. You don't come on at like 2400 and 06. That doesn't work. But anyway, he was
6 minutes of dead space.
No, 6 seconds, 24 and 6 seconds.
Oh, 6. Oh, yeah. 6 seconds.
So,
still.
but
oh my
that's
God.
what they were.
Like
It was floating with. No, it was floating. I was like, man, it's like, because they were probably just sitting in the room, like talking, goofing around, and then, oh, we're supposed to be on the air right now. That's what I'm guessing.
Hold the bong. Grab the bong. We got to be on.
Shit.
Yeah, there you did.
All right, we're live on the air right now.
Here, we're back.
We're back.
He was the only person that retooled it, and they actually ended up getting on multiple stations and had a decent run. But
so you had a positive impact on them.
Yeah, but that was one out of like maybe 40.
So I want to add this. I want to add this little tidbit I learned being one of the, get this is a little tidbit rando fact about me. I'm one of the #1 palm readers in the Seattle area. I've read thousands, oh my God, thousands and thousands of palms have been hired for by AOL, Amazon, Microsoft, like all kinds of people for big parties, all kinds of stuff. So here's the thing though, you never do a palm reading for free.
Oh, you shouldn't do anything for free.
Well, but see, here's the okay. So I say that, but see, when you do palm reading, people are like, it's the second I say I'm a palm reader.
What, they want you to do it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Except for me, I
It's
rubbed
like,
all my lines
I'm
off
like,
years ago.
you guys. No.
He's putting super glue in his hand, like
Yeah.
picking it off, getting rid
This
of
arm-
it.
He's
much
made
bigger
it
than this
perfect. No, okay, so no, it's like that's the weirdest thing because it's one of those things like when you do something like that, when you do like tarot or palm reading, people just assume you'll do it for them. Like this, like you don't like if someone told you they did hair, you wouldn't be like, oh, will you cut my hair right now? But it happens with palm reading. It's just a thing. But I will say, I don't give palm readings for free. And the reason is because when someone hasn't invested in you, they literally can't hear you. They're listening for your mistakes. They're trying to hear
Okay.
where
Trying
aren't
to
you perfect.
trying to
So
discredit
the only
you.
yeah,
kind of thing,
exactly. And they're gonna find it because in palm, you know what I mean? In any kind of divination, there's a little area of gray, a little vagueness in the language that has to occur. And so if you're looking for the vagueness, you're gonna find it. But if you're looking for an answer, you're gonna also find it. See what I'm saying? So if I paid you and you're real, you're not like there's scam artists out there, guys. Okay, so I'm not sitting here saying all divination people aren't scam artists. They exist. But if you have vetted your person and you go find a reader and you're listening to them, paying that little price invests that like, okay, let's hear what you have to say, and you're gonna hear what you need to hear. You know what I mean? Like it is important. And if you don't invest that price, and it's exactly the same for everything in your life, it's the same for music, it's the same for like anything. If you don't invest some piece of yourself in it, you get nothing. This is called equal energy exchange. If we want to go back to science.
Or
There you go. Think about it. And let's go back now. This is look at this as Brittany's little ad for palm reading. How did you how does one become the #1 palm reader in their area?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is a little ad for Jim. Okay, this is gonna be a little ad. So so palm reading is 100% a thing you can learn to do. I happen to be somebody that realized I was born with a gift in the sense that I had people messaging me saying, you gave me a palm reading 4 years ago and it all came true. And I went, oh, what? So I started to like, I found the #1 palm reader in the Seattle area, and I went and met him. His name is Jim Barker. He's amazing. He doesn't live in Seattle now. He lives in Arizona. I'm sure he's going to be the #1 there. He is pretty much amazing. He travels the world redefining what palmistry can be and teaching classes and taking away all of the negative, like, oh, you have this, it means this story. Like, no, it's totally this really cool like thing where you can have interpretation, and it's just amazing. And he called it the divine hand because the truth is we are all whole and complete and perfect. We're all divine. And that's where we should come from with the palm. And so that's my little thing with divine hand. I met him. And he and I together created a mastership program for palm readers. And now he travels the country teaching other palm readers. And I know he's written a couple books. I know we've been written about in a couple books. Yeah. I know that he did an incredible program bringing palmistry and tarot together. And I think there's a book written about that. So definitely divinehandpalmistry.com, Jim Barker, check it out. It is a different, very, very progressive version of palmistry and divination than anyone has ever seen, and it is the best. So I feel very privileged that I got to be his very first apprentice and master of the program. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So now is he taking on other people?
Oh yeah.
As
Oh yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, people out
It's
there
just a price
listening right
tag,
now,
man.
because
You just gotta pay. You pay that price, and then you go through the class the same way that I did, that he and I put together, and then I'm sure that he's perfected with other students because he's had other students since me. I know that he and I together taught the second student, Eddie Wall is what she goes by now. And then from there he's taught others. And yeah, 100% you can reach out to Jim Barker and you could go through the Divine Hand apprentice to mastership program and become somebody that can go out there and read palms professionally and feel like you're doing something pretty amazing out in the world. Just saying.
that's awesome. This is this is a second interview. This is actually gonna become a thing. This is the second interview in a row now that I've had where like we just I'm gonna cut that up into a little vignette, and that's gonna play on the radio stations.
You'll have to hashtag him. It's like Divine Hand Palmistry, Jim Barker, Divine Hand Jim. I think all of that. I'll send it whenever you put it out. I'll like copy him, and then you can add him to the post.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And my last one, he's a tattoo artist now. He's the lead singer of the last band that I interviewed. I was like, I didn't even know you were a tattoo artist. He's like, yeah. He's like, well, new development. I'm now at Nashville Inc., but I do on the road tats too. So somebody wants to come and see us, I'll do a tattoo for him on the road. Awesome, dude.
That's cool. I mean, I read Palms at Sturgis. So.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You can do on the road palmistry.
Yep.
You know, we should start doing palmistry after gigs.
Well, Steve does. Steve does anyway. He goes to the bathroom.
I'm going.
Hey, you got to tell your fangirl story though.
Oh no.
Oh God, I forgot about that, man. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna try to finish this interview because I don't want to take up your whole freaking day.
Oh yeah.
But
well,
yes, I want to hear your fangirl story.
I don't get to ask questions. Oh, that's right.
Okay, what's your next? Let's keep going.
What?
He wants to hear your fangirl.
No, I want to hear your fangirl story.
Okay. So I grew up. I really loved Creed. I was a hardcore Creed fan.
Okay.
But I never got to see them live when I was young. And so we're opening for Scott Stapp. And I definitely, gosh, I was really wanting to meet him. You know what I mean? I really wanted to meet him and just say I really appreciated, his musical influence on my life. And I'm walking towards the backstage in my high heels, and I see what occurs to be a gate because only the performers get to be backstage. There was like a whole barbecue and everything. And I'm like, God, do I have to walk all the way around like in my high heels? So I see what looks like a gate. And so I like call through the gate like, hey, is this a gate? And who the hell turns around right then but Scott Stapp. And starts walking over to me, and I freak out. I got like so weird. So this was my, oh my God. I like look back at that like, man, I wish I had been cool. I was not cool at all. I just did not expect him to turn around like Scott Stapp. Like, this is when I meet you I'm in a gate and being weird and screaming at you. Like, this is how we get to meet.
Go back to your 15-year-old self.
I did. Well, no, because I was like, this isn't how I want us to meet. So I was all, never mind. Excuse me. He's like eating a hot dog for me. He goes, turns back around.
She just walks away.
So I like trek my way around this whole park, and I go around, my feet hurting, and I get to the barbecue, and he's gone. And I never got to meet him again. I know.
I got to hang out with him.
I was like, you know what? This is my learning lesson because if I hadn't have been weird, you know what I mean? And if I'd have been like, Scott Stapp, no fucking way, or whatever, I just like was like, this is not how we get to meet. No. You know what I mean?
So did he ever figure out who you were? just thought it was some random fan.
Yeah, I know. I was like, someday I'm gonna meet him again and be like, do you remember?
You remember that hole in
When
the
some
fence?
girl was like yelling at you through a fence while
You had
were
a hot dog in your mouth.
You had a hot dog in your mouth and it wasn't through the fence?
That was me. I was there. That was me. I really did want to meet you. I didn't know that he would like eat and then like they ditch off into the green room. It was like right next to our green room too. I should have just knocked on the door.
No,
But
that's
the universe gave me a
lesson.
joining moment, and I was like, no.
But it was a lesson.
It was a lesson.
Don't act,
well, now
act
we
like
knew.
you belong there next time.
Act like I belong. Yeah. So I decided, like, oh my God, okay, I don't get to fangirl. Like, fangirl, no more fangirl. Because I could have actually like met Scott Stapp, so it's all good. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I will keep people up to date on where Limberlost is going to be. I'll be watching for those dates you were talking about. And yeah, don't guys, don't forget especially Rock the Locks in Oregon. That's a huge festival. So look forward to that. And any of you listening in that area right now, definitely get your tickets. Get them now, man. That's it's like hell with everybody playing. I think it probably comes out to like maybe like I don't know, $5 a band. You know,
Probably. I mean, it's a great lineup. The whole weekend is just packed.
yeah. Who did I see there? See there.
Dirty Honey,
Dirty Honey is those guys.
Blackstone Cherry.
Blackstone Cherry.
Blackstone Cherry.
Bird
Both
Eye
awesome.
Blind, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Dorothy's gonna be on our days.
She got to hold hands with Dorothy, so that she didn't,
Oh yeah.
Oh
Dorothy-
well, that's close to being with Scott.
well, it was
Well-
right after she did the Scott thing, she held hands with Dorothy.
No, it's Dorothy and I were backstage watching
Stapp.
Scott perform, and I'm not on first name basis. Scott Stapp perform, and we just held hands. It was cute. It was adorable, and yeah, it was really sweet.
I got
It
to
was
meet-
a great moment.
I got to stand with Scott and Daughtry, and we all were the same size, which I was really amazed because I'm short. And actually, Scott, I think, is shorter than me. So it was
Oh,
kind
he
of weird.
is. I just didn't.
Yes,
Yeah, he wears heels.
Yeah, now thinking about it,
He wears heels
yeah.
on stage.
It was hot.
Little man.
It's good.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. Limberlostmusic.com is the website, and you keep up with everything there. But then you guys too are all over the socials. So hell, friend them on Facebook. Like just
yeah.
send a message telling them that you appreciate them.
Ah,
You know, like what they do is worthwhile, and you want more of it, man.
and we'll actually message you back. 'Cause
There you go. There you go.
we
And
appreciate our fans.
it's
We
like
All two of them.
you'll actually like you can be okay, give yourself a little credit. You got to have 4.
Okay, 3.
I guess that's the lesser two evils. New single is Alien. This, my friends, is the band Limberlost, and Alien is right here, right now on Real Rock Nights.
Click for the latest video right here, right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe.